My name is Anat Biegon. I'm a senior scientist in Brookhaven National Lab, working in the medical department, and I'm part of a group of scientists who specialize in imaging of the human brain. So using specific chemical tools that we develop, we are able to look inside the brain of a living human being and estimate or measure the concentration of different chemicals that are important for the brain business, for the brain doing its function. And most recently, we have developed a tool which allows us to look at the amounts of the enzyme that makes the female sex hormone estrogen inside the brain. So there is only one enzyme, one process that is capable of producing estrogen, and we have a label for it. And we can watch the concentrations of this estrogen-making molecule, so we can measure the capacity of different areas of the brain to make the female sex hormone estrogen. And we use a technology called positron emission tomography. So the person lies in a camera, we inject a small amount of radioactive material that latches onto this enzyme so we can see what are the relative levels in different people, in men and women, and in different brain regions. And this particular study, we focused on a region called the amygdala, which I think for the layperson is best described as the fight or flight center. This is the brain region which tells us about our emotions, tells us whether something is bad for us, whether it's dangerous, whether we should go for it or whether we should stay away from it. And what we found when we looked at men and women inside the PET, we measured the amount of the estrogen-making enzyme in the amygdala, and we tried to relate it to people's personalities with regard to their ability to inhibit their own behavior. And you do that basically by interviews. You ask people, when you are in this situation, do you fight? Are you good at inhibiting your own behavior? Do you make efforts to avoid harm? So there are two components to this: harm avoidance and self-control, which together are called constraint. And again, I think intuitively one can understand that trait constraint has to do with how well you can control and inhibit your own behavior. And what we found is that in women, the estrogen synthetic capacity in the amygdala is tightly correlated and positively correlated with constraint. So the more estrogen they could make in their amygdala, the better they were able to control and constrain their own behavior. And we did the same comparison in men, and we didn't find any correlation. So what this tells us that women use their estrogen that they make in their own brain, in the amygdala, as a means of modulating and inhibiting their own behavior. And men probably have to do something else to achieve the same end.